you hate meetings? Do you feel that yours are too long, inefficient, a huge waste of your time, and there are too many people present? Hi, I'm Christine Comaford from Smart Tribes Institute, and our clients, for the most part, hate meetings. And here's the thing, it's because there are six types of communication, and often we're using the wrong ones. Of these 6 types of communication, only 2 of them drive results. So let's talk about what they are, and let's talk about how we can get your meetings on track. So of the 6 types of communication, decision-making and debating, promises, requests, point proving, info sharing, and sharing of oneself. Let's look at each one. Decision-making and debating, that's pretty clear, right? We get what that is. Promises, I will do this for you. Requests, will you do that for me? Really straightforward. Point proving, you've seen this before. Chest thumping, standing on the pulpit, etc. Info sharing is what a lot of people do in meetings. They're just sharing status reports. That should be done digitally. That should be done offline. So notice how much info sharing is happening in your meetings. And then, of course, sharing of oneself. You know, my experience is blah, blah, blah. And that's helpful to a degree. So typical and ineffective meetings have a lot of info sharing, everybody just sitting around reviewing status that they could have reviewed beforehand, a fair amount of point proving, some debating and decision making, some sharing of oneself, and sadly, very little requests and promises. Effective communication in meetings, lots of requests. Yes, I will do that for you. Lots of promises. Some debating and decision making, always important. And then much smaller amounts of sharing of oneself, of point proving, right, of info sharing. So I want us to start to notice what gets in the way of your meetings, what makes your meetings woefully inadequate. And here's the thing, when we look at those 6 types of communication and we start to wonder, wow, you know what, we're not really moving the ball forward. We also can look at the way you can structure a meeting, whether it's on Zoom or not, that makes it work a lot better. Let's go through the steps to structure a meeting effectively. First, we set the meeting's intention in advance. What exactly do we want to accomplish? If we don't have an accomplishment that's clear, an intention for the meeting, why are we meeting? Because without that clear intention, we also don't know who really seriously needs to be in the room. So think about that. Is it to allocate work? Is it to move a particular project forward? Is it to resolve some conflict? What's the whole point of the meeting? All right, so set that intention in advance, right? Also, I want us to notice if we actually even need to have a meeting. Would a 10-minute huddle resolve the issue? Do we actually even need to call a meeting, right? Number 2, invite the doers, the decision makers, and the impacted parties only. And watch out for the impacted parties, because in many cases, if there isn't a dependency or a contingency, the impacted parties, frankly, can be looped in later. But if there's going to be dependencies or contingencies, and they'll be able to say, whoa, we actually can't ship product on that date because of this, that, and that, they need to be in the meeting. So often we have meetings that are way too crowded. We have unnecessary people in the meeting that actually don't move the ball forward. And there is energy in a meeting. And if we have too many people, it kind of takes some of the oxygen out of the room. So only the doers, decision makers, impacted parties. Prompt start times. Many of our clients actually start their meetings 5 minutes early. That's the bonding, hanging out, how you doing, grab a cup of coffee time. That way the meeting actually starts on time. Some of our clients also like to have, penalties or such if a person is late. Think about that. What I'd rather you do is have a culture of people showing up 5 minutes early. That way the meeting always starts on time. It respects everybody, but also it's professional. Number 4, right? Clear meeting leader. Who is the leader of this meeting? What is the tight time-boxed agenda? We're going to talk about such and such for 10 minutes, then we're going to talk about this other thing for 5 minutes, then we've got a 15-minute debate on such and such, and everyone's got to get that in advance, at least 24 hours in advance. If there's any info sharing, hey, read all these status reports so that you come to the meeting prepared. That's got to happen at least 24 hours in advance as well. Most of our clients say 24 hours in advance. Some of our clients, this is harder to do, depends how much info there is, will say 48 hours in advance, but that's asking a lot, I think, for most people. And then, of course, manage communication and feedback. Step number 5. We want to make sure that as we are moving through the meeting, especially if we've got everybody on Zoom, if people want to communicate, we either are using raised hands, etc. So start to look at how you're going to manage feedback and polling. A lot of our clients are using polling on Zoom, which is very efficient. It's a very quick way to see how everybody is doing without having everybody have to chime in. So how are we going to communicate? How are we going to manage the feedback and the communication? And then, of course, step 6, send that recap email of all the responsibilities. Here's who agreed to do what. Here is when that particular thing is due. Here's what the spec actually is, so we know what success equals. So again, to recap, 6 different types of communication. Start to really notice what's prevalent in your meetings: debating decision-making, requests, promises, point proving, info sharing, sharing of oneself. How much of each of those? What do we need to reduce? A lot of our clients, as I mentioned, share info in advance. So the 6 steps again: set the intention in advance. What exactly do you want to accomplish, right? Step 2, invite the doers, decision makers, impacted parties only. Step 3, prompt start times. That's the standard. If people run late, start 5 minutes early. Step 4, clear meeting leader and tight time-boxed agenda, which is why sending that pre-reading material helps us clip through things faster. 5, manage communication, manage feedback, using polls, using chats, etc., so we can all let people feel heard without wasting airtime. And then step 6, send that recap. Please be sure to put your questions, comments, whatever's below. You can download our effective meeting template that we've got for you, free gift for you. And then, of course, please subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much, and like this video if you found it useful. Thanks a bunch.